So we're going back in for part two. Trading will take everything from you. This is James. Video just dropped not too long ago. And basically what I'm doing is taking all these comments and people have questions about, especially if you're new to trading, and basically he's breaking down the psychology part of trading and how everything is trading will take everything from you. And basically I'm going to give points and kind of contextualize what he's talking about, validate it, obviously, and then also talking about the fact that some things that you can do to improve it too in real time, the things that I've done in my past that helped me while I was doing this on this journey and still doing to this day. So let's jump into it.
Ability, being snarky, distant. Your mood will flow up and down with your P&L. Green day, all right, maybe you're a good person. Red day, nah, you're pretty much worthless on all accounts, right? That's not trading, man. That's known as emotional dependency. That's more of the dark side.
So again, so your P&L determines your day. Again, to highlight, that's not a good spot to be in because then you basically are dictating your day off of the P&L, right? And you don't know if you are coming to the chart with a clear mindset. That should be the case. Have a goal. Have a goal and tell yourself that I'm going to then take these many A plus trades. I'm going to take this many A plus trades, or I'm going to keep my process is my goal is to take these when I come to trading day is take A plus trades. If I take an A plus trade, it kind of takes away from the fact that if I win a trade or lose a trade, it moves that away from that, and I just start focusing on the process, and then focus on the process, and that way I'm kind of just not living into the P&L. That way I'm kind of even kill if I take a loss or a win because it's like did I take a good trade as well. Only focus on that I follow my higher time frame bias and all the good stuff. After I did all that, charge the game is what it is. I'll move to the next trade. How you get to that point is focusing on the process, not the P&L.
And the other thing trading will steal is your body. And nobody talks about this enough. It's a stress sport after all. This isn't just you sitting at a desk. It's high stakes decision making under uncertain conditions over and over and over again. And that stress, it does not come without a cost. You ever feel like your chest is tight, like your sleep is completely broken, weird digestion, a clenched jaw, your shoulder is constantly up and in a locked position? Haven't breathed all day? Well, that's you and your cortisol stuck in a constant sympathetic state. You're stuck in fight or flight, day to day, week to week, year to year. It can be even worse in crypto, to be honest. High octane volatility.
This is for me. I can't speak for everybody. For me, if you deal with a lot of stress and anxiety, not saying it's not stress and anxiety and trading and stuff like that, but for me, I play sports. So I've been, you know what I'm saying? Like you always in those moments where it's like you playing the game, it's the game is tied, you know what I'm saying? You got the ball's getting past you. Like wherever you're in training and playing basketball, you know what I'm saying? Like you running and I've been putting these moments a lot. So if that part doesn't really do anything, or they not do anything, but that part isn't big consumption. But I will say, not exercising would be like it has to be it has to be number one from the psychology standpoint. So if you're trading and you don't work out, God bless America. Like that's all I can tell you. You have to be able to de-stress yourself. How you de-stress yourself mentally, that de-stress yourself, going on a walk, stuff like that, and that even could be considered physical. But you gotta do something physical to combat the mental toll that this takes. So therefore, it might just be something physical, meaning I will play basketball or I'll go work out. Whether I go basketball, play, and work out, yes, it's helping me physically, but it's also clearing my mind mentally. Does that make sense? So you gotta combat that stress relief somehow, and the way that you can do that is sports, working out. I mean, taking a walk outside. You have to combat with something. If you just like you stress, quote unquote, and you just go to sleep, in my opinion, it doesn't, like, you know what I'm saying, that didn't really relieve stress. You kind of just let it dormant, and then the very next day you even got this more stress because you kind of got to release it. You know what I mean? You kind of got to like, all right, let me just focus on something else and have that psychology of, and mentally and physical, that exercise that you need. And I think it's like it's hand in hand. If you trade, you must work out. If you trade, you must play back. You must do some physical activity to kind of like have some ebb and flow with it. That's what I'm trying to get at. And I think it may be saying that diet, of course, you want to take care of your body and stuff like that. It's just in general, like right in health, because it just helps your mindset. So I mean, of course, diet. But I would just I know I can launch this kind of speak to the physical part of it, which is very 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 important. Just as much as you following your plan, that has to be part of your plan. That got to be part of your goal.
Running 24/7. No off days, bro. Always another candle, another opportunity, another narrative. You end up living in this constant state of vigilance. And over time, this transitions into chronic fatigue. By the way, insert those uppers and addiction problems, but that's for another story. So yeah, you think you're grinding, that you're locked in, but you're actually consistently eroding your body and mind. This is all going to be taking years off the end of your life when it becomes your identity and your nervous system's permanent setting. And what about your relationships? Trading, it's lonely. It's not like that quiet lonely, but a deep one. The one where you can be surrounded by all sorts of people and still somehow feel alone, like no one can really understand you or what you're going through. You might explain your day to your spouse or friend, and it sounds like, I had a tough day. But in reality, you mean, I'm questioning everything about my entire future, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So,
Yeah, it's interesting because I think everybody's been there, right? Everybody's been there where you stressed out, and you want to explain the day, and it's hard to kind of combat or kind of talk about it. Um, I'm doing a lot better at doing communicating and kind of like saying this is how the day was, and this is what I'm doing with it, and this is why I felt. I kind of to help. This was a tough one. This one's a tough one. Um, you really because you don't want to again, I gotta go back to the goal, like, cause you can't. It depends what type. It depends how detailed you want to be. I mean, it, I say the details don't really matter at the end of the day, because the details of you explaining how your day was and how you're feeling, again, is all contextualized. It should be around the goal, and I mean that as in if you followed your plan, then you had a good day. And if you followed your plan, then you should be able to talk about how you had a good day. Like you just had a good day. You're not you again, it's up to you if you want to get into the details and kind of express what the day, detailing what the day looked like and stuff like that. But the end of the day, the result is did you have a good day or not? And if you didn't have a good day, then just kind of talk about, okay, this is why I did differently. This is why I had a bad day. You want to relate that, talk to your spouse about that X, Y, and Z. That's up to you, discretion, all that stuff. But I think the idea is basically more generating the idea of a did I have a good day, and what I mean by good day is a good trade. Did I take my trade setup? Did I take the trades I was supposed to take? If I did that, whether I lost or won, it doesn't even matter. Because my point of example, like you have a day in the office and you did everything you're supposed to do, and I'm trying to give it like I'm trying to give it a real world example where like you could just trading shouldn't we focus on the P and L and we treat trading as a whole as a different entity, and it is in itself. But at the end of the day, it's just like you was going to the office and if someone asked you to do something, you had a good day, and something out of your control happened. But did you do everything you were supposed to? Yeah. So at that point, why am I finna have a bad day or be like, oh, I can't? You know what I'm saying? I can't express that I had a good day, but this happened or I've had a bad day, and then this bad day happened because of your decision. You know what I'm saying? That's two different things, right? So I just feel like looking at it from a point of view of not necessarily looking at. Cause I know if I think about it, like if I have a bad P and L, I can't say nothing. If I have good P and L, I can talk about it. Because then you're gonna be focused on the P and L, and then you're gonna be like, it's gonna be a weird again diametric of like if I have a P and L or good or green, then I can talk about it. And instead of just looking at take a good trade, you had good. If you had a good trade, I don't care if you lost one. Did you have good? Did you have a good trade? Did you follow your plan? Yeah, you had. You have splendid day. Talk about it. Explain. You know what I'm saying? Taking away from it, looking out for the goal, I think is going to be the most important thing. Like I said, how you detail you want to be. I think obviously it's your discretion, but I think just looking at it from a point of view of did you take a good trade is going to be your safe and like your like foundation to help with this because you will go through this because then you're gonna be worrying about if they understand it and how they if they don't understand it and then it's like it doesn't even really matter, right? It doesn't matter if they understand the contextualize of every single thing. It's just more of understanding like, hey, did you have a good day? Hey, who can relate to that? Did you have a good day? Did you follow your plan that you had before you went in? Then you sound like you had a good day. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I would think about it.
you eventually stop trying to explain your thoughts or your feelings and you maybe withdraw. And yes, the more you would,
So you won't do that. See that? So you won't withdraw. That's so to not do that. That is how you gotta break it down because then you're going to overthink and make it more complicated than what it is. And then the day you got to think about from the other person's perspective, they only may necessarily want to or even necessarily desire to learn every single thing about trading. But they might genuinely care about you and did you have a good day? You know what I'm saying? Like we're thinking too hard about it, or you could be thinking way too hard about it when it's not that complex. And in a situation, it's like it don't have to be that detailed. Did you have a good day? Did you follow your plan? X, Y, and Z. So you won't have to go through this because you go through this, now you're in turmoil you mentally and you feel like it's two different people when you're talking to your spouse or something like that, which is a bad spot to be in.
withdraw, the more it consumes your entire internal world. That's the trap. And if it fits inside your whole world, then losses don't just hurt your account anymore. They're hurting your whole identity, your
Mm-hmm.
self worth, and your future. So you resort to protecting your ego, not your capital. Blaming, deflecting, not accepting the truths, all of those deep, dark truths. The greed, the envy, the ego, impatience, addiction, self-sabotage, the need to feel right or special, or fantasies of that one big trade that's going to solve everything. Look, this is where my story comes in, by the way. I've been doing this for 12 years, and I've had years that look incredible from the outside. But then I've had multiple years where I genuinely thought, I might be done, man, where my confidence was completely shattered and in the gutter. Years where most of my trades were overreactive and forced. I had to rebuild from scratch, not only financially, but mentally. So the highlights are easy, and anybody can feel like a genius in a bull market, right? But that's the real test is when you're in the desert, the choppy market, the narratives you don't understand, the markets that don't follow through and make you second guess every single position you hold.
You will get to this point. I'm telling you, yeah, it's crazy saying this because you feel like it doesn't happen to everybody, but as you can see, that it happens to everybody. Again, I talked about in the last video, having highlights. You gotta have them, man. If you don't record yourself trading, you need to record yourself trading. You don't gotta post them. You don't do all this stuff. Just have them to be able, like, I have a footage of me winning successful trades. Therefore, if I am in a drought, I am in a losing streak. If I am not following my plan, and you need to go back and be like, what did I do while I was doing it right, when I was on, par, when I was doing good, when I'm doing like that. That's going to be like your way to hurry up and get your confidence back, right? Because if you then you have to rebuild it all over again, you're starting from ground zero. Which in case you technically do got to start from ground zero, but if you have your highlights, if you have something you can go ahead and view and look at, then you kind of like you start with ground zero on your confidence, but you like it's like a leg up because it's like it won't take you that much longer to get your confidence. You're like, you know what? I just did this. Oh, I bet. Let me, because I even would do that. I would have these highlight days, and I'll go back and I'm just viewing my highlights, viewing what I did good. Then the very next trading day, I'll take a practice trade, a demo trade, just to kind of be like, yeah, I'm good. I'm straight. I'm just had a couple two, three bad trades. Let me just, I'm good. Let me balance myself back out. Take a demo trade. It does great. Next trade, I'm like, I'm back. Like, you know what I'm saying? You really gotta tell yourself that. You gotta be like, all right, I'm back. We good. We solid. Let me get back. Let me go back, follow my plan. Like X, Y, and Z. Let me get back doing what I was supposed to be doing. And that's what it helps you, right? It helps you to get back that confidence quicker.
That's where a true trader will be revealed. And this is the reason most people fail. It's not because they're dumb or clueless. It's because they can't stay emotionally solvent. They don't have the time to develop those needed skills. They'll quit, they'll blow up, they'll go numb and drift towards other things. Why? Because the pain is real. Okay, but here's the turning point, the light at the end of the tunnel. If you can survive in those murky waters, in that darkness, and find your way to the other side, trading can give you something that nothing else does. It will give you a complete personal evolution. It forces you to become a person who can handle reality. No excuses, no narratives, no blame game, just results. Once you can finally accept that, you can stop fighting the markets and your own demons. Sure, the goal is to be right in a way, but it's more to be an executor. Less about winning every trade and more to just stay in the game. Not about dopamine and excitement, but just a consistency over time. And at some point, if you stick around long enough, you will develop a different relationship with loss. It's not as personal. It's not some moral issue. It becomes more informative, feedback, data for you to learn from. You'll be less emotionally volatile, not because you don't care, but because you've trained your nervous system to stop treating every position like it's life or death. So you'll size positions better, you'll respect volatility, you might even trade much less. And boredom can become a signal instead of something that forces you to act. No position can be a position. The best traders, they are not the ones with the most action, rather they have the best patience and processes.
I mean, if you haven't, like, let's speaking straight facts, where it's just like we kind of talked about earlier in the part one and talked about it a little bit in part two, but and also in different videos where it's like you focus on the process. The outcome is you got payout. I was able to take a payout. I was able to take payouts apart from account. I was able to take regular personal account. What got me to that? What was how I was able to do that? It was a process I was following. It was not the P&L, the process I was following, and then when I was following this process, it warranted me this outcome, which the outcome was a payout, which is not putting now. I'm not pedestalizing whatever word I'm trying to say. You're not putting the uh on a pedestal. I was trying to say, well, you're not putting it like a highlight, like the high level view of the payout, high level view of the income, high level of the profit. You then just following the process that got you to there. So therefore, you are understanding what it takes to get there, and not focusing on how I got there. Yeah, I hope that makes any sense. But you really want to get to the point where it's like those two are is ebb and flow, ebb and flow. I don't care about the P&L. I don't care. It's what I say. This is my risk. This is my reward. This is my goal, and this is what I'm looking for. So when you start doing that, that really helps. Uh, Definitely become the great side of the trading.
This is when trading will actually start giving back. Not immediately, not magically, but steadily. That clarity you were looking for starts to appear, as well as a belief and self-trust with a little bit of discipline. And in the end, once you truly earn that, that freedom comes, the one you seek, the real freedom. That comes from the backside of this journey through the dark side, through mastery of the craft. So if you're feeling it right now, come the end of 2025, like you don't stand a chance and things haven't been working out for you, try and reframe what's happening. It's not the end of the story. This is the part where most people quit, where the tourists are told to kick rocks and to get back on LinkedIn. Look, it's brutal because it's built to be, but therein lies the opportunity. So here's the ultimate
I mean, there is nothing else you can say about that. It's where people, you've been in that rut, in a stuck. You know what I'm saying? I've had my own shares of like ups and downs, where it's like this is where you got to reinvent yourself mentally and tell yourself it's not the end of the world. I'm sure that, and it's go crazy if people want to tell you this, and man, you got to the end of the video, this is gonna be so positive. I guarantee you better than what you was a couple months ago. The majority of people are you so much better than when you was months ago, but you've had a bad week or a bad couple weeks. So therefore, you like you know what I'm saying. You took the last 2 weeks of progress because you went down. You went down your P&L. You haven't been following rules. But like 2 months before those 2 weeks, you was really doing really good. But you have not even focused on those 2 months because the last 2 weeks you're in a rut. You can't get out of it. And it's like that, and it's just like just take a deep breath. I had 2 weeks. I had a bad month, whatever the case may be is. But overall, have I improved in trade? Yeah, I have. You just had a bad month. So now let's consolidate how we need to focus this. How I'm going to tackle this. What can I do to tackle this bad month? This bad trading psychology. Let me go back. I mean, not necessarily change the whole strategy, especially you got payouts and stuff like that. You don't need to change the whole strategy. You don't need to give up. There's no reason to give up. There's really no reason to give up. Just reconsolidate how you've been psychology on these tradings and what you was doing when you was working. That's why I talk about highlights. But let's say you don't highlights, go back to just going back to point blank. What's my risk reward? What's my strategy? Am I taking good trades? That's all I need. That's it. There's nothing else we need to talk about. After that, it's just made me consistently having a little bit of discipline and being like, I want to take my A plus trades and I want to put this much risk on there. Enough risk to be like, I am getting out of these accounts fast enough, X, Y, Z. I'm putting enough risk to actually, my goal is satisfied, all that good stuff on the back end. But once you have a trading plan, all we got to do is stick to it. But I feel like we will consolidate the trading plan. We move this around, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. And at this point, you spiral even more further when we just need to take a deep breath. A lot of y'all doing way better than you was last year at this time. I know I'm one of those people that I'm doing much better in trading than I was last year. And it's like, it's no reason to throw the whole thing out. It's just make a couple tweaks, get back to what we was doing, and continue forward. So that's what's going to be in this video. That's Jaymes. I'll put his link in the description. Don't know if he's, don't know his trading style, have nothing like that. Just thought he had a great video. Want to break it down and try to help people that are viewing it, because there's a lot of people in the comments that had a lot of questions. So I hope maybe some of these people see this video and they answer it. And like I said, feel free to join Discord. I'll put more stuff in there, details and stuff like that. So that's it. I'll see y'all next one.